Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Newsbrowse News broadcast. NHK reports that the U.S. State Department has announced the formal resumption of operations at the American Embassy in Venezuela, ending a 7-year suspension. The embassy in Caracas had been closed since 2019, following then Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro's decision to cut diplomatic ties with the United States. This significant development comes after Maduro's capture in a U.S. military operation in January. Delcy Rodriguez, a former ally of Maduro, has since assumed the role of the country's interim president. U.S. President Donald Trump is actively seeking to establish relations with the new Rodriguez administration, with a particular focus on the development of oil and other valuable resources. The State Department emphasized on Monday that reopening the embassy will enhance the U.S.'s capacity to engage directly with Venezuela's interim government, its civil society, and the private sector. In a reciprocal move, the Venezuelan government has also dispatched a delegation to the United States, aiming to reestablish its diplomatic presence there. The World Trade Organization's 14th Ministerial Conference concluded on March 30 in Yaoundé, Cameroon, successfully achieving multiple significant outcomes. Key accomplishments include the issuance of a joint ministerial statement on the Agreement on Investment Facilitation for Development, representing a vital step toward implementing the first multilateral investment agreement. An interim implementation arrangement for the e-commerce agreement was also established, poised to boost global digital trade. Additionally, ministerial decisions were reached on issues such as fishery subsidies, small economies, and special and differential treatment for SPS and TBT measures. Important consensus was also forged on WTO reform. Conference Chairman, Cameroon's Commerce Minister Adangana, noted that while considerable progress was made, certain issues, like extending the moratorium on customs duties on electronic transmissions, remained unresolved. WTO Director General Ngongzi Okonjo-Iweala confirmed that members would continue negotiations on pending matters in Geneva. The Chinese delegation actively participated, demonstrating a constructive role by promoting talks upholding multilateralism and MFN principles, and helping to bridge differences. Their efforts were highly praised by the host country and the Director General. Over 120 delegations and more than 80 ministers from 166 WTO members attended the biennial conference, which serves as the WTO's highest decision-making body. This news is reported by Kwame Wan. According to Linta Sarbal, U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, declared that Washington will not permit Chinese electric vehicles, EVs, to cross from Canada into the United States. This announcement comes after Canadian Prime Minister Carney's January visit to China, where an agreement was made to reduce tariffs on these vehicles. Hoekstra cited national security concerns regarding automotive data collection and transmission as the primary reason for this stance. While the specific methods the U.S. will employ to block the EVs remain unclear, the U.S. already has regulations limiting the sale or import of connected cars utilizing Chinese and Russian technology. Hoekstra also indicated that Canada is not the U.S.'s primary concern in global trade, pointing to South Korea, Japan, and Mexico as larger threats for auto production and China as the overall biggest threat. He also voiced disappointment over Canada's approach to Arctic security, feeling the U.S. was excluded from recent discussions and investments. From the Canadian press, Asian nations are increasingly competing for Russian crude oil as a severe energy crisis unfolds, exacerbated by the month-old war involving the U.S. and Israel against Iran. this conflict has disrupted roughly a fifth of the world's oil supply. In an effort to stabilize global crude availability, the U.S. has temporarily eased sanctions on Russian oil shipments already at sea, initially for India and then globally. While this has sparked a flurry of interest in Russian oil across Southeast Asia, including the Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, and Vietnam, experts warn that Russia's capacity to significantly boost exports is limited, as it already operates near peak production. Furthermore, Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine and recent drone attacks on its energy infrastructure are hindering its export capabilities. Nations like the Philippines are experiencing severe fuel shortages, leading to rationing and cash handouts, highlighting the desperate situation for poorer countries. China and India, having already secured substantial Russian crude due to earlier sanction waivers and existing stockpiles, hold a significant advantage in this strained market. The situation underscores how rapidly geopolitical shifts can impact energy security, compelling nations to prioritize supply despite moral dilemmas. Singapore's Energy Market Authority, EMA, announced on Tuesday that the nation could experience potentially sharper increases in electricity and town gas tariffs beyond the second quarter of 2026. This projection, as reported by CNA, is attributed to the ongoing Middle East conflict, which has significantly strained global fuel supply chains, leading to elevated oil and natural gas prices. As Singapore generates approximately 95% of its electricity using imported natural gas and relies on it for town gas production, rising fuel costs directly impact consumer tariffs. While households will face higher gas and electricity tariffs in Q2 2026, these increases only partially reflect the surge in fuel prices, as tariffs are based on average costs from the first 2.5 months of the preceding quarter. EMA noted that natural gas prices began climbing notably after February 28, indicating that the full impact of the conflict on energy costs is yet to be seen. EMA urges consumers to prepare for higher and more volatile energy costs and encourages the use of energy-efficient appliances and conservation efforts to mitigate the impact and enhance Singapore's energy resilience. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.